The Agriculture Department is cutting about $1 billion worth of funding to schools and food banks. The programs let them buy food directly from local farmers and others. This will hit school children's meals as well as people who depend on food banks. Farmers and ranchers who relied on the funding could also be hurt. The Agriculture Department says the programs don't, quote, effectuate the goals of the agency.
How is this making America great again when you're cutting food from kids? How is this helping the place to grow and become a better place? Is it because you think it's gonna affect black people, or migrants, or Hispanic? These are your own people in Rust Bucket Town, the Bible Belt, these corn states will live on farming. I'm not saying that everybody should not go out and work and have enough resources out there to take care of their kids and their problem. But how is this going to help when we're literally willing to spend so much money on wars? We're willing to spend so much money to Israel. We're willing to give so much money to everybody else. But when it comes to even a plate of food, even though they say it's no free meal, but even the kids, I heard one senator said that they need to go out there and get a job. Isn't child labor illegal in this country? Why you refuse to give your own citizen and your own kids of your own country even a decent plate of food? Do you hate them that much? And what have they done to deserve this? These are kids, they are innocent. Or as what Elon Musk said, you guys don't have any empathy, and empathy is the biggest problems of conservative Christians, because if you have empathy for these kids, they might actually have a plate of food. What is wrong with empathy? Is it because he knows he has to remove empathy from he doing businesses and becoming the richest man and watching everybody else around him suffer? That is why he had to remove empathy from anything. But it is so strange and so surprising to see how we cheered on and to make America more great and more efficient that we would even cut Medicare for everyone in the country and going off of Social Security. It is no surprise that you guys are turning on the most vulnerable people in your society. Even the kids, you cannot give a free meal, but you're willing to send so much military aid to Israel. You're willing to do all of this for Israel, but cannot even give your own kids in your own country, the lowest of your society who are innocent, even a free meal? What is so bad about giving the kids in America a free meal or even give them something to eat? You gonna blame this on Biden? Come on. Come on, Trump. Do better than that. Do better than that. I told them, I'm still up to this day trying to understand the heart of the deal, because I don't understand it and I will never will.
I feel like the human impact of this is always missed in these stories. I remember growing up going to the Boys and Girls Club every day after school, and it was free lunches or free after school meals that local programs provided, that many of the kids in those programs, that was their dinner. If they did not eat there, they would not eat when they went home because they lived in low income schools. I remember teaching at Boys and Girls High School where my students would come in early to get breakfast so that they could perform at grade level and be good students. Is the school system perfect? I know we're going to talk about it, but it was feeding kids early in the morning so they could come and pay attention because they wouldn't get it at home, and then giving free or reduced lunches. I know that when children are born, and WIC, women, infants, and children, the developmental phase of children, if they do not get proper nutrition when they're from utero to 5 years old, the likelihood that when they actually get into the schools, they can perform at grade level. This is a systemic cycle. And so to start, you could start with the big manufacturers, but you're not. You could start at the Pentagon, but you start with kids. That is a direct impact that affects Republicans and Democrats. And I don't think that's what people wanted. I also think I'm looking at this from a different perspective for people who actually don't even have 401ks. There's a whole constituency of people who don't have retirement plans, don't have disposable income to buy stocks when they are down, because they are literally living paycheck to paycheck. And many of those individuals voted for Donald Trump. And I don't think you're right, man. What the president is saying is causing instability in the market. Now, last week we were at this table and the market had dipped again, or before, twice last week. And it was like, well, it's one day. Now we're like 3 or 4 days in because of the language. So I think there are some people who will benefit from, probably people like Elon Musk, probably people who have the luxury to not just have a 401k, but have some extra cash on the side to make the most when the market goes down and they can buy stocks. But then there is this whole set of people in middle America, that working class person that doesn't have that luxury, and what is happening to them. And prices are still high. I get it, it's been 6 weeks, but prices are still high. And the social safety net programs that they often use are at risk.
I'm trying to understand, because if you want to cut wasteful spending, I can definitely understand you wanting to cut wasteful spending. Nobody would like to see taxpayer money or wasteful spending going on. And when we see that, yes, it makes us very angry. But a billion here out here cutting food and other resources from Americans and kids in the pursuit of being efficient is kind of very crazy, that the kids who are getting free meal from these government agency of the taxpayer, which most people, I don't think they have a direct problem with some kids getting some food. How much is that going to offset or throw off Congress budget comparing to how much they spend on the military and all these things? By feeding these kids what's supposed to cost was 0.9% of the entire GDP government spending budget. So why can't we feed these kids? Why can't they eat? Why do we want to step in and be more efficient in this area? Why we all know that the greatest spending is going on with the Pentagon, and that is where all the money is, and nobody is touching over there. No one is blinking an eye. Nobody is saying anything. Nobody wants to touch the military spending, but we'll all jump and cheer and be happy to take food out the kids' their mouth. It is very strange, very appalling, and very disgusting, and seeing that not even chips and fries, not even a soda. I can't even get some chicken, and not even a chicken nugget, not even a biscuit. You know I love some chicken nugget. I can't even get some grape soda. I know I'm black, but I can't even get a grape soda. Huh? Not even some grape soda? Not even a chicken leg? A drumstick? Nothing? Nada? You just cut everything? I can't even get a chicken nugget? A chicken nugget? A chicken nugget? A chicken nugget? Man, you must be wilding on that. I love a good chicken nugget.
It's just about what part of the money it comes out of. When you talk about school lunches, hey, I worked my way through high school. I don't know about you, but I worked since I was, before I was even 13 years old. I was picking berries in the field before we had child labor laws that precluded that. I was a paper boy. And when I was in high school, I worked my entire way through. You're telling me that kids who stay at home, instead of going to work at Burger King, McDonald's during the summer, should stay at home and get their free lunch instead of going to work? I think we need to have a top-down review.
I think you're painting a lot of these kids with a broad brush. I would say that's not necessarily a fair assessment of all of the kids. So you would say all the kids in your district who use the free lunch, for example, or breakfast, they're all just sitting at home and not working. Okay, I just want to clarify, because that seems like what you were trying to insinuate.
This gives us a chance. This gives us a chance, though, to see where is the money really being spent. Who can actually go and actually produce their own income? Who can actually go out there and do something that makes them have value and work skills for the future? I mean, how many people got their start in fast food restaurants when they were kids versus just giving a blanket rule that gives all kids lunches in high school who are capable of going out and actually getting a job and doing something that makes them have value, thinking about their future instead of thinking about how they're going to sponge out the government when they don't need to. We don't give people value. We don't give them the ability to dig themselves out when we penalize them for actually working and actually keep them on welfare. That's what's been the inner city problem for a very long time. We need to have a top-down review so we can get people out of poverty, because you know what? America is very good at creating jobs and giving people worth. And we've been very traditionally good at that, but we're losing our way. And that's when we give people incentives to stay at home and not work. That doesn't work for America.
But a lot of these kids aren't even of like working age. They're young kids, and as you well know, and also some of the kids at Head Start, they're like 5 and under. But I just want to.
Oh my God, I have recently changed my argument. What he has just said has finally gotten through to me. I think we should repeal and remove and throw away and get rid of child labor law. We should definitely push these kids out in these streets and send them to work. How could I be so stupid? I feel like I am a part of the problem. Want to baby these kids? Of course they should be out there working. And you know what? When we remove these laws, they should be sent to a factory and go make robots and Tesla cars for Elon Musk. I am 100% behind it. This is the best argument. And yes, send them to McDonald's. We should even remove these laws that protect them. Maybe push it a step further. Maybe we should even remove the minimum age for joining the military at 18. We should send them to war with a handgun and a grenade in their hands to go fight Ukraine. Why are we holding back these kids? Why are we holding back these kids? We should revert and make America great and go back to our past times before we had child labor laws and do it just like in England back in the old days. I hate these kids. They should not be out here living this life. I guess that is his argument. I cannot believe that he went on national TV and literally say that we need to put kids, give them more work. We should be working them till their backs give out. I cannot believe that this is the argument he's making, but that is a part of the Trump legacy and the part of the heart of the deal. You guys and your kids can never get anything in America free. Nothing is free for you guys unless you're Israel. We will bend over backwards and give it to Israel. Israel get free college, get free health care, but you Americans who are funding it shall get nothing. Not even your kids can get a chicken nuggets. You can't even get a cup of Kool-Aid. So no and no and no and that. That is his argument. And this is the journey that we are on to make America great. It shall be the new shining paradise in the sky. And you know what? I think that is great. I think that is fine. Why do I think that is great and fine? Because I am a lunatic. I am a lunatic. But honestly, guys, I can't even turn a bad situation and even make it right. I'm trying to do satire, but the burning truth is just staring me in my face, and I can't even laugh. If you like this video, just like, share, and subscribe, and let me hear more of your take. I'll try to post more videos about topics that jump out at me, like this one right here. And just like, share, and subscribe. And if you have something to say or add to the conversation, just hit it in the comment. Wait, I ain't got on my wedding ring. All right, guys.